in this battle, we are facing Groudon plays Pokemon, and you can see by his setup that this guy has an incredibly offensive team. Most of his Pokemon are sweepers, so that is a bit scary. Although it's also a good thing because a Pokemon like my Absol, if it gets set up, will be able to sweep right through this because he doesn't have anything that'll be tanky enough to actually successfully withstand the hit other than the Cloyster. So I was just hoping that I would get a good matchup here so I could do some serious damage with the Mega Absol. So anyways, he leads with his Volcarona, which is an absolutely terrible matchup for this Absol. Now sure, I can hit him decently hard with knockoff, but not only do I risk getting a burn from Flame Body, but I also risk getting one-shotted if he goes for a Bug Buzz rather than a Quiver Dance. So of course here the best play will be to switch out into Toxapex, because Toxapex should be able to wall Volcarona for the most part, and it does also have haze, so I can shut down his what do you call it? Yeah, his setup. So right here though, I do want to get status on this Volcarona, so that way I can deal with it a lot easier. And also, like, let's say Volcarona or Toxapex goes down, then I will be able to finish him off with the chip damage, because then, like, worst case, I can sucker punch with Absol and then bring him low. Then I only have to sacrifice a few Pokemon before the Volcarona itself dies. So there are a lot of benefits there to the Toxic. So anyways, here I know that this guy is going to go for a Dragon Dance, which is exactly why I go right for a hard haze, just to show him that we don't do that here. But now I was thinking maybe he would try switching out, or he might attack, or he might I guess I actually don't know. I wasn't expecting him to actually go for round 2 of Dragon Dance, but that's actually what he decides to do here. But I wanted to bring in Tangrowth because I was thinking I could put it to sleep, or I could get a knockoff off, because I mean Tangrowth has regenerators, so it basically comes in for free in a lot of circumstances. But he actually ends up going for an Outrage, which does huge damage to my Tangrowth right here. Like, Dragonite actually hits like a truck. And I go for the Rock Slide, or the Rock Tomb, which is enough to take him out because of the Toxic. So that's great, because the Dragonite is no longer going to be a problem for us. So now he goes into his Volcarona, and it is tempting to stay in and hit him with a Rock Tomb in case he tries to go for a Quiver Dance, expecting me to switch out. But I decided to switch because knowing this guy, he's probably going to attack, because that's what he did against my Absol. So I mean, I know that Togekiss comes in pretty easily. I wasn't expecting him to go for a fire type attack. I was expecting him to just go for a Bug Buzz. But here he goes for a Fire Blast, which actually does huge damage to my Togekiss. I follow up with an Air Slash, although I definitely want to switch out here because I don't want to lose my Togekiss so early in this battle. So I go into Toxapex here, and I'm able to take the Fire Blast pretty good, although not amazingly. But now I decide to just go for a Scald just to get some damage, because he's already really low. So if I bring him low enough with the Scald, I guess any other Pokemon can probably finish it off on the switch. And unfortunately it's just shy of a KO, but that's not bad, because now it can't really switch into anything. So now I'm going to follow up with another Scald, just to finish off this Volcarona. Luckily we do get the award right there. Probably doesn't matter too much though, but that's great, because now when we switch out, we're going to regenerate all our HP back, so that's going to be pretty nice. And the Volcarona has now been dealt with. Unfortunately, really the best way to deal with a lot of the common setup sweepers in this metagame will be with defensive Pokemon like Toxapex and Tangrowth, because they can come in and they can basically shut down any attempts of sweeping. So now he goes into his Zeraora, and I will say this is actually a really scary Pokemon in the right hands. And I'm surprised because in general competitive battling, it's only UU, which is like a tier below OU, which is for the best Pokemon. And this is one of the scariest Pokemon in the Brick Bronze scene if you don't have a counter, and it's everywhere. Almost everybody uses Zeraora. So anyways, I try to hit him with the Sleep Powder, although unfortunately we get the miss, and he hits us with a super effective Blaze Kick, which does really good damage. So here I go into Chandelure because of my Flash Fire ability, meaning that I get a boost in my fire type attacks. So now of course I'm going to just go right for a Flamethrower just to do some big damage. He goes for a Plasma Fist, which hits really hard, but we do survive, and this Flamethrower is going to be enough to finish off the Zeraora. Because I mean, this is coming off of 145 special attacks, so it's not really surprising. So now he goes into his Greninja, and I mean, I debate here if I want to switch out or not, because I mean, keeping Chandelure could be helpful. So you know, I decide that Toxapex will probably come in here pretty easily. Hopefully he goes for a water type attack. If he's smart, he'll go for a dark type attack. We'll find out what he goes for. But he does go for a dark pulse here. Probably his best move. Although, you know, it's with protein, it's not, you know, anything crazy. So now I just want to get a toxic off on this Greninja, because you know, Greninja is a really scary Pokemon. It's been Ubers for a reason, because it's a monster, especially with all the different moves it gets. I mean, it gets Gunk Shot for fairy types, it gets Ice Beam for grass types, it gets Extra Sensory for poison types. So really nothing can come in safely unless you start really figuring out the moveset. So anyways, I do get my Toxic off, and he goes for an Ice Beam. I suppose he was predicting me to switch out into my Tangrowth, I don't know, or maybe Togekiss, I don't know. Yeah, Togekiss makes sense actually, but in this case we didn't, and it did pay off. So now I'm going to go for a Recover just to regenerate some HP, and you will see that every time he used Protean, it's actually working against him, because he loses water typing, and that means that my Scald will hit him neutrally. So, and this is one of the first times I've actually seen it really cost the player, because I mean, Dark Pulse really isn't his best move here. Like, if he had Extra Sensory, he would have done more damage, but you know, because of his Protean, it's gonna be really nice. So here I hit him with the Scald. Now it doesn't actually do that much damage. Of course, it is because, you know, he's been poisoned, so that's all the residual buildup. But you know, I realized he's not actually as low as I was hoping he would be. So I mean, it is tempting to switch out into Scizor, because he is going for Ice Beam. Although, you know, if he goes for a dark pulse, it would not be good, because I would take some pretty big damage. But I would be able to basically Bullet Punch for free on this Greninja. So anyways, he goes for another dark pulse. I hit him with a Scald right here, which is going to do some pretty juicy damage, and he is going to go down here to the poison, which is nice. And of course, you might be asking, why don't you see the poison effect? It's because in this game their status effects were bugged, so that's why that is the case. So anyways though, Toxapex really has been carrying this battle, because a lot of his offensive Pokemon don't have enough power to break through this. They're really fast and strong, which will make them really good against other offensive Pokemon, but against Pokemon like Toxapex that can wall all their hits, they're all useless, and they'll get shut down by the Toxic Recover Haze combination. So now he goes into his Cloyster, and Cloyster can be really deadly, but it is also a Pokemon that gets shut down here by Toxapex with you know, Haze and Scald and Toxic. So anyways, I do want to get a Toxic off on this guy, because I'm pretty confident I can take his attacks, because I resist his Stab type combination. He can only really hit me with Rock Blast, and you know, that's not that bad. So here he goes for an Icicle Spear, which is actually really solid damage considering it's resisted, but I go for a Haze just to eliminate all the stat boost that he generated. So now basically this Cloyster is back to step 1, and thanks to my ability regenerator, I basically, you know, could switch out. Although I figured it might be worth staying in here, because you know, if I am able to live and he doesn't get a critical hit, then I should survive and go for a Recover, which is good, because now, you know, I'm back in good condition. And ideally, I don't want any of my other Pokemon to have to come in on an Icicle Spear, and also I do want to try and get a clean sheet if I can. So now I'm going to go for a Scald here. It's not going to do that much damage because it is a resisted attack, although it should be satisfactory enough. Although he switches out into Gallade, which is excellent, because you know, if I get a burn here, it's gonna completely shut this down. Although unfortunately here we don't get it, but you know it's fine. It's not a big issue because I have plenty of Pokemon that are ready to come in on this Gallade, like my Tangrowth here, that really loves to see it. And it has really good defenses. Rocky Helmet's gonna do chip. Regenerator, of course, it's just a goated ability. So right here, of course, I'm switching out into the Tangrowth, and this is his Mega Pokemon, which is really nice. I actually really like Mega Gallade, and I might try it out sometime down the line, or see if I will. So of course, I do a poll system now to determine what Mega Pokemon I use. Although, I mean, it's not, amazing, of course. I'm pretty sure it's Yu. I think Yu bandless though at that, but, it isn't like, the scariest Pokemon, but it can be scary, especially in the late game when you run out of checks. Although with Tangrowth here, this is the least of my problems because, if he goes for a Sword Stance, he probably won't be able to hit hard enough to, to do too much damage. And then if I land a Sleep Powder, I should be able to basically shut this down. So now of course I've administered the Sleep Powder, so I figured it's time to pull out the Absol. And if all goes well here, I can just pull a late game sweep. And I mean, I do kind of want to do that, although at the same time I may as well just play it safe and hit him with a play rough, because that's a guaranteed one shot. And I'm actually pretty confident that I can probably just clean up the rest of this guy's team. So of course we Mega Evolve the Absol. I actually don't remember what Mega Gallade speed is, but I know Absol caps out at 115. But we missed our play rough. Like I said, I never miss any of the really good moves like Focus Blast or Sucker Punch, but I always happen to have the worst luck with play rough. So anyways, I went for a Sucker Punch there because I was kind of worried that this guy actually might outspeed me. I don't really remember Gallade speed, but actually I think I probably would have been fine with the play rough, although I didn't want to take the chance in case it was like a speed ties. I think Gallade is the same as Mega Absol, although I don't know, but luckily he stayed asleep all of those turns, so he wasn't able to take care of this Absol here. So anyways, now I'm going to go for a knockoff because I don't think this guy can one-shot me. Knockoff should do some really big damage, even though Cloyster is a defensive Pokemon. And then, of course, I can always finish him off with a Sucker Punch. Although, unfortunately, he actually gets a critical hit here with the Icicle Spear, so it is enough to one-shot the Absol. That is the downside of Absol. It's really frail, and that critical hit there definitely screwed me over. But it's not a big issue. We missed the clean sheet. That's the painful part. But I do have Scizor here, which will 100% take care of this Cloyster with one good superpower. So here he goes for an Icicle Spear. It's not going to do that much damage because of the resisted attack, and we have some good defenses, and this superpower will mark the game. So that right there is GG.